We are not here to make money in 2 years. We are here to make money over 20 years, 100 years. What we'd also seen is death. We had seen hospitalization. We had seen what can happen to a family when the principal earner goes away. 2008 was the year when everything went bust. And at that time, we had almost packed up and decided that, probably won't get funded. Insurance is not a product which you can just buy online and, be okay with it. And there is a set of India which does it, and there is a huge part of India which cannot do it.
Today, buying an insurance policy is almost as easy as buying a pizza. And I'm sure you've all seen the famous Kapil Sharma ads, which kind of bring home the point. In this very special episode of the Founder Thesis podcast, I'm speaking to Tarun Mathur, the co-founder of Policybazaar. And he spoke of the 17-year-long journey of Policybazaar, starting from very, very humble origins to today being a publicly listed company with a market capitalization of 70,000 crore rupees. This episode is all about understanding the DNA of building a company which truly is a legacy. I'm your host, Akshay Datt, and this is the Founder Thesis podcast. So, Tarun, welcome to the Founder Thesis podcast. 2008 is when you set up Policybazaar, when there was no ecosystem of funding. There were no role models of tech startups as such. What was the mindset when you were setting it up? Were you thinking in terms of like ये धंधा है कि इसमें इतना मार्जिन हमारा है और वो धंधे से कमाएंगे, or were you thinking in terms of more Silicon Valley style that we will build tech, build a product, raise money, have a flywheel, and at scale we will be profitable? Well, what was the mindset with which you were building?
See, there's no one single mindset, right? And I have to be honest in this one. Please remember, I was about 25 years old when we thought of it. And your brain doesn't work such so strategically, right? Of course, dreams are there. You say you're getting into startup, and we'll do so big things. And in 3 years we'll be millionaires, billionaires, whatever. And you know how that always goes, right? So I didn't think so. I thought that I'd be a millionaire, and I'd be on my yacht by this time, and as you see, I'm in front of a laptop, so that didn't really happen. But having said that, the other part was we had a mission. We had a mission. So not on the very serious note, we thought that there is a huge part of India that we understand because we came from military backgrounds, right? Yashish and me, we were both from military backgrounds, and we understood what actually middle class is. How much money do you have? कितना पैसा लगता है जिंदा रहने के लिए? कि retirement क्या होती है? आपके घर कितने छोटे होते हैं और कितने बड़े होते हैं? And in the army specifically, you see all of this. You see it in the smallest of flats. And when my dad was commanding, we had this big house. And then once he was out of command and he went into a instructor role, again we came back to the small house. So we'd seen middle class. What we'd also seen is death. We had seen uh, hospitalization. We had seen what can happen to a family when the principal earner goes away, right? And please remember, there's one product we keep talking about. I know it's a broken record, but term life insurance, right? Look at the product. What does it do? It doesn't do anything. It just gives you money when you're not there, right? Or it gives your family money. But आप ये सोचो that if let's say I'm earning 10 lakh rupees in a year, and if I die, my family, even if I can have a 1 crore term plan, is it enough? It serves them for 10 years only. What after that? So if I die at 40, they can live a good life or the same lifestyle till they're 50. They lower their lifestyle maybe till another 20 years. And then it will go down to my son and my daughter to kind of take the burden and kind of. So what one death can do is take a family from middle class and send you below the income group. So it's a very harsh reality that nobody faced. So coming back to it, so we had a mission. We wanted to kind of do something for middle class India. We think that insurance in terms of protection is a big thing. We didn't really care about all the profitable products and all that. That was not our thing. We wanted to protect the middle class, and we said this is our mission. This is what we want to do, and this is where we will make our bread and butter from. And I think that was there. And we kept evolving into that. So all the steps that we've taken, I think it's been very simple for us. From 2008 till now, we've just been thinking about how do you keep protecting this piece better? And there's of course there's a commercial angle to it. We sell some products, we try and market them better, we do ads, but the mission was always the same. So if you look at mindset, that was the mindset. And the third part about ourselves, I don't think we were really thinking, because you're right, at that time, funding, etc., etc., while it was still happening, startups weren't as cool. I don't think there were so many podcasts, or so many guys doing this, the kind of show that you do, on startups were exactly what my mom thought about the call center industry back in 2000, is what people thought about startups then, right? If you कि नौकरी नहीं लगी होगी शायद इसलिए लोग अपना कुछ खड़ा करते हैं, कोई दुकान खोल रहे हैं types, something like that. So but that didn't bother us. We thought that we could do something. We had the years behind us. We'd also run a very successful business. We'd also seen digital. We were marketing and technology guys at heart, and insurance was a product that kind of resonated with us. So I guess it's a culmination of a lot of things which came together.
Okay, interesting. Uh, I'd love for you to zoom into some of those early challenges of setting up Policy Bazaar. Um, for example, did you need funds to start off with? If yes, then how did you secure those funds? What was the go-to market? What were the challenges in selling digitally? Because I mean, today everybody offers APIs, but I'm sure it was not like that. So what were those early challenges? If you can zoom into some of those.
See, the challenges are very common, right? Whichever startup you go to, it was basically, you have paucity of money. Of course, the original founding team had put in something together. Some of us decided not to take salaries for a long time, but I think we also ran into a lot of good luck and a lot of blessings. 2008 was the year when everything went bust. And at that time, we had almost packed up and decided that we probably won't get funded. But at that point in time, I remember InfoEdge came and said that this is something that makes sense to us, and and they've been a very very close allies for the longest time, and our friends, and they've supported us, and they came in and they funded us in that year itself. So. It wasn't a long time that we had to kind of spend without that, and but yeah, it you can say it was tough, but सच बोले तो सैलरी इतनी कम थी कि नहीं भी आए आए ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता जिंदगी में. So
Yeah.
so that's you don't have to romanticize it too much. It's exactly like that. But I think it was
How
okay. I
much
think
did
beyond a point, it worked
i-
out.
how much did InfoEdge give in that first round? The angel round is what it would be, right? The seed
Yeah,
round.
it was the first one, and that was about 20 CR worth.
Okay, and so that was enough to, like, first year, first 2 years, whatever, help you get the technology and some basic marketing expenses, manage all of that.
Oh no, that was a lot. That
Mm.
was a lot. It was all that we needed, and we pretty much went with that for the longest time. We actually, and thereafter we started earning our own monies. So
Ah,
we did kind of pick up other rounds. But quite honestly, that was a big check for them to sign, and I think we were very happy about it, and we still remain very grateful about it.
okay. Tell me about how you managed to sell insurance digitally. That was the basic thesis, right? That you will sell insurance digitally.
Yes, it was always about, how can we, get a lot of transactions. But yes, there is a small story here, right? We thought that we'd be a completely digital company, which means that we'll have a website, we will have these products, they'll be listed, and customers will come, they'll be able to compare, and they'll buy, and we'll
Add
be
to cart
millionaires,
and
right? It's
check out.
always yeah, I don't remember, right? But you see, insurance is a very serious, very involved purchase, and it's a lot of jargons, a lot of understandings, and to be clear, there is a lot of confusion in the terminologies, right? And it's not easy to understand, even for somebody who's been in insurance now for 17 years. There's a lot of stuff I still don't understand. Now, for a consumer to be able to understand complex products is asking too much of them, and we realized that very early, right? When we set up our website, we had almost zero sales for first, I think, what, 30, 40, 50 days. And then we said, why aren't customers buying from us, right? We've built this beautiful website. It's white and blue. It's got all set things, and we've seen these customer journeys in our yesteryears, and why would it not work? And then picked up a few guys, and we said, why don't you call up these customers and you understand what is it that they need? Why? How can they buy better from us? Now, these guys weren't sales guys, but they became sales guys because they realized that there were only doubts that they had to clear. And if you assist them properly, when we set up the assistance unit, and that remains a huge part of who we are even today. So there are these telecallers who are speaking to customers, they're convincing them. Now we also have some of our folks who go and visit customers in their homes, just explain them the product. And that has been the evolution of our business. We realize that insurance is not a product which you can just buy online and be okay with it. And there is a set of India which does it, and there is a huge part of India which cannot do it. And I know that one will kind of entrench into the other, and but as that happens, we have to continue assisting our consumers, right? Also, from a customer service point of view, it was a bit jarring back in 2008 for you to buy a product, not haven't spoken to someone, and without somebody who you have, let's say, a collar to catch per se. And I think that faith building has been our journey for the last 17 years. It's about, how do you get better products? How do you give better service? How are you there for the customer when they need it? Can we stand with them? And I think if you look at our brand messaging, that's also changed. It started with, compare and save. And now it's about, if you need a claim, you will have somebody coming to you in 30 minutes, right? So it's all about that service which you want to kind of render. And that is where we want to keep supporting. That's how we kind of build it up. And insurance products, like going back to your original question, insurance products, we started listing them. We started working with the companies, and you also mentioned about API, etc. We didn't have API, so we did some part integrations. We had a lot of innovation in terms of how we can get the information to the insurance companies. There were delays, there were problems, but I think over time, the insurance companies are also very receptive, and they also saw this opportunity, some more than the others. But over time, everybody realized that digital is a very serious channel, and it can develop into something big. And yeah, the rest is history.
Understood. Understood. From a slightly more like a nuanced technical understanding, this is a regulated space, and I think there are two ways in which you are allowed to sell insurance, either as a broker or as an agent. What is the difference? And am I right in this? What I've just told you, is my understanding correct, or and which?
Partly, let
So
me
if you
elaborate. So there are
okay.
multiple types of licenses. Of course, the IRDA, is the one who gives out licenses. For individuals, they can become agents. For some corporations which have some other businesses but also want to sell insurance, there is a corporate agency license, right? Banks used to be corporate agencies, now they're becoming brokers. Then there was
So
something called a
what
web
is
aggregator.
fundamentally
You,
agent and broker? What is the
I,
difference?
yeah, I'll come to a difference. I'll come to a difference, right? So I'll just go
Okay.
through the
Mm, mm,
first the labels
mm.
and then the destination, right?
Yeah.
So there's agent,
Okay.
there's corporate agent, and then there is a broker. And there's something also called a web aggregator, which we used to be about 4 years ago. A web aggregator was essentially a broker who was more online, right? But now we're also a broker. What are the difference among them? See, an agent is a singular person, right? Who wants to sell insurance. He wants to directly work with multiple insurance companies, but not many. So they're allowed. I'm sorry, I'm not very clear, but a few. They can tie up with, let's say, two general insurance companies, two life insurance companies, and a couple of health insurance companies. So they can sell for these. So uh, uh, they will be able to sell for those companies. So they're agents of those companies selling to the customer. A broker is the opposite. I get a customer, I represent the customer, and I go to insurance companies with the need, and I then get products for them. So I am a representative of the customer as a broker. A web aggregator is absolutely the same. There is not much of a difference except for digital and non-digital, because we do digital and non-digital both. We're a broker. Then comes a corporate agency license. Again, these are entities. Both brokers and corporate agents are entities. So corporate is an entity which wants to sell insurance apart from their larger set of things. And they'll be able to again sell for only about 3 to 5 companies. They have to only partner. In a broker, you can tie up with all 50. So I think this is where the licensing in India sits today.
What how did you sell insurance? Was it purely by setting up a call center and using the sales approach of outbound calls and SMSs, or was there also other ways in which you thought about how to generate more sales?
So Akshay, it was always about the inquiry. See, like I said, I think I mentioned once, we were a product and we were a marketing and product company, marketing and technology company at heart, right? That's who we were. And for
Mm.
us, what we wanted to do was we want to kind of go out there and reach out to customers and say, hey, this is a great product, please come to us. Only when people came to us, either they would buy on their own or we would, return their calls and say that, this is the product and these are the features and buy from me. So our entire sales was focused on consumers who came to us. So whether it was through
Okay, so
our
sales
brand,
was conversion focused,
yeah,
basically. Like once a lead is
absolutely
generated, then
conversion
convert.
focused.
Focus. Okay.
Yeah,
Fine.
yeah, yeah.
Fine.
But most of it, a lot of it converted on their own, like in car insurance or in health insurance, where the customer had to speak to someone. So they used to call us, or we used to call them, and we continue doing that. So the large part of it is inbound. There is a part that is outbound, but only if the consumer comes to us. So you will never find us cold calling. You will never find us kind of buying some database and just calling out and saying, "Sir, आप policy बाजार से कुछ
Hmm.
खरीदोगे?" वगैरह
Hmm.
वो सब we'll never do.
Okay.
We only get
Okay.
customers, so we reach out and we say, okay, so if Akshay thinks that this is worth something that I have to this is something I have to buy, then he will come to
Hmm.
Policybazaar. And once he comes to Policybazaar is when we will call you back.
Okay. So how do you generate inquiries then? Essentially, then first step one is top of the funnel, generate inquiries. What is the strategy there to generate inquiries? Like where does your
See, I
marketing
think.
dollar go?
uh, See, our marketing dollars are not so many now. We performance marketing is not such a large percentage of our business. If you hear our earnings call, etc., that's it's always the case that every year is declining. Our direct traffic is what drives our business. So people coming onto the website on their own, typing Policy Bazaar, whether they're coming directly through Google or whatever. So our SEO and our direct traffic is the main engine that we have today. It was, of course, performance marketing when we started with it, but that as that brand got developed, as that word of mouth happened, as our TV ads kind of built that brand, it's now a lot of direct traffic. When people come to the website, they choose a product. So typically you will find multiple set of squares which say whether you want to buy car insurance, you want to buy, if you're an SME, do you want to buy fire insurance or shopkeeper insurance or whatever, and you select that product, you give an inquiry, and then you either buy or you kind of say, okay, please call me, or you have a number there, you can chat with us, or we'll call you back, whichever way. So these are so basically the inquiry happens at the website. Somebody comes in, they fill up a small form which gives us the need, and basis that need and basis your request, we will either call or not call you.
Okay, okay, understood, understood. Let's talk about the B2B business of Policy Bazaar, which is what you are personally leading. What was the genesis of it? When did you decide that, okay, we need to go beyond B2C? Tell me the journey of building up the B2B side of the business.
See, for a long time, we didn't realize that that protection isn't just about health and term. Protection is also about businesses, right? You remember you asked, how was it like to kind of work without salaries, or what? Now, uh, an MSME and an SME are exactly in that space. There's 63 million of them, right? It's the same mathematics that was there in 2008. There are about 63 million of them. They're about 30% of our GDP, but only about 7 to 10% of them are insured. And that too, I would say only about maybe the top 5%, or maybe some really really aware people who would be amply protected. And what do you need to kind of guard against? See, when you set up a business, there's so many risks around that business, right? Now it's your bread and butter. It's what you're going to do for the rest of your life. It is your baby. It is all the lovely words we use for what we do, right? What would we be like if a lawsuit came? What if some liability came? What if your employees fall sick? What if your employees die? What happens to my business, right? So for all these risks and perils that we learn about, the ultimate question that you can ask is, what will happen to my business? Fill in the blanks. So many perils, right? So we realized that this was a huge opportunity, and we had been ignoring this for the last so many years. It wasn't apparent to us. To be honest, it's also about the drive that exists today around SMEs and MSMEs. So we wanted to kind of now create and extend what we'd made on the direct side, or on the retail side, on the SME and MSME side. And there's so many judgments. When we started in 2008, our original brand, people used to say, no, nobody's going to buy online. Insurance is very difficult. कोई नहीं आएगा आपकी website पे. We got the same feedback again, that MSMEs or contractors or shopkeepers or office in charges, they are never going to buy insurance from us. Or even the startup CEOs, they have too many things to do. Why will they come on your website, right? What do you do? But here we are. See, we set up Policy Bazaar for Business about 4 years ago. Remember I mentioned that we were a web aggregator. We became a broker. So when we became a broker, we were also permitted to do commercial lines of products. And we've just carried on our message of protection, and that's what we're doing here. Today, the number of risks that are around an MSME aren't there for an individual, right? So there's a risk of health, there's a risk of loss of job, there's a risk that your business might shut down, of business interruption, of machine failure, of your if you're into some sort of trading, and if your truck kind of meets with an accident, collision, your truck itself. So there are all these risks, and we need to kind of cover for them. And that's become our new mission, right? As at least my mission now, as I lead Policy Bazaar for Business, we want to make sure that all these MSMEs are well protected. They have the right set of products at the least possible pricing, because we also understand the pain of what an organization has to go through. See, when you have only $10 to spend, how many of them can you spend on insurance? Not much. So can I design covers which are specifically for the SMEs, where they don't pay too much, but at least in the case of a large catastrophe, they're not kind of pulling in their pockets or going for investors or going to friends or bank loans, etc. So that's our new scheme. That's what the evolution of Policy Bazaar for Business is. It's been only 4 years. It's a very, very underserved market. There are very, very large brokers in India, very reputed brokers in India, but they try to look after the large corporates. For us, our mission is to kind of see how can you get these smaller companies, and in a way, we also have a soft corner for them, right? If you look at the startups of today, you can call them SMEs today, but I'm sure they'll be the giants tomorrow, and if they are well protected. Also, if you look at it, when I look at these products, uh, India is also becoming quite litigious, right? So when a smaller company comes in, let's say a Zomato was to be set up today, the amount of people who say, "Oh, there was something in my food," or or the restaurant saying something's gone wrong, there's a tendency to sue either ways, and a smaller company can't take that, right? How much will you spend on corporate fees or lawyers fees, etc.? So insurance takes care of those smaller corporates, and hopefully, I think more and more people, as they hear about it, they'll and understand this risk. We will see a large expansion here also.
Okay, okay. Um, so you said there are already existing brokers. So these would be like, say, Aon, and there must be a lot of domestic names. So these would go to, like, say, an
Yeah.
Infosys or an EY. Those kind of companies would be catered to by these legacy players in this space. For the SMEs, there is no legacy player.
Yeah, nobody's got their prime objective as this. You see, and I must explain this one. Do we do large corporates? Yes, we do have a lot of large corporates who actually work with Policy Bazaar for Business today, right? And I thought I'd clarify that. So if they are listening to this podcast, they suddenly start believing, okay, this guy doesn't even care about us, right? So see,
Right.
we do the whole thing, right? We do large corporates. I think we do a tremendous job of it, as do our competitors. But you see, the focus for them has been very large ticket sizes, right? Whereas where I come from, I'm saying that I want to kind of look after everybody, but my focus is how do I make sure that there is any MSME who's ever come to me is protected enough that they never have to lose their shirt or anything, right? And that for me is a mission, right? But the risks that are there for an SME are also there for very large corporates. So but for most of the brokers, the attention has been towards the large businesses, and that's I can't really justify it. This is a historical thing, right?
That's
Some things are just
profitable,
the way
right?
they are. I don't think the large companies would ignore if it wasn't profitable. But yeah, MSMEs it is difficult to make money. I must agree, right? Especially when you're not in the digital business. See, the digital business gives us a lot of access. So a lot of our MSME and SME consumers are coming digitally, and which is why it becomes easier. But is the cost of acquisition less? No, it's not. It's about how I can ease the process of buying, how I can ease the process of claims, how well I can service. Can I do it digitally? Can I understand digitally? But I think it's not about us. I think we're not the hero. I think the consumer is the hero, because today there are contractors who are about to take on a contract to do some construction in a particular site, and they need a workman's compensation product, which is mandatory for the next 3 months. I think it's quite easy to just log on to Policy Bazaar, enter 5, 10 details and just buy a policy, instead of, going through someone or, talking to someone, and then there's a back and forth and I need a printout, etc., etc. So I think
Yeah.
wherever we can bring about ease, convenience, competition in terms of products, it's a marketplace, right? But if the take isn't very high, if people don't buy this product, then, even someone like us could fail. But I feel at least we've crossed that hurdle in the last 4 years. I think today there are lakhs of SMEs coming into us who are choosing to purchase. Some of them are mandatory products, some of them non-mandatory products, and we will see this evolution over the next 3-4 years where protection products will come out. Like a company's health insurance policy has eternally been done in a particular way, where somebody will go to the company, talk to them, come back, take their proposal, go to 5 companies, get those rates, back. But today, very happy to report that we've got a calculator. So if you came on and let's say you're running for your company, and let's say you have 70 employees, you come onto the website, you say, I've got 70 employees, I'm in this field, can you give me group health insurance? Here you go, you've got 10 offers. And I think that we're also evolving in terms of what are we able to buy online. I remember back in 2010, I was very iffy about whether can I buy shoes online or not? What if they don't fit me? Other than right? I don't remember the last time I went into a shoe shop, right? So I've also evolved as somebody who's buying. अब मैं फ्रिज भी खरीद लेता हूँ, मैं टीवी भी खरीद लेता हूँ. अब मैं नहीं चेक करा ना कौन सी क्लैरिटी एक से दूसरी है. So we're also evolving, and I think SMEs
Hmm.
have also reached that. They've been buying this policy for a long time. They're like, yes, I'll buy it. No, just give me the options. So
Hmm.
that is happening, and I think our competitors are they're fees fair's competitors, and they're very very reputed, and they're doing a great job. But I think we've got a story. I think we've built a story around it, and we've worked very hard on creating the proposition that somebody has, and hopefully that will pay over the long term.
Okay, interesting. Um, would the bulk of SMEs be buying health insurance? I'm guessing because most companies need to provide health insurance to their employees. Would that be the most popular product, or what's the product mix like for this business?
No, it's actually 50-50. For the SMEs, I'd say it's 50-50. In fact, no, it'd be 60-40, trending, heavier on the side of non-health products. That's because, see, there are some products which are naturally you have to buy. See, let's be honest, when you set up a startup, you're not really thinking about health insurance. You're thinking about, okay, I need to have a directors and officers liability policy, right? I need to have a cyber policy. If you're setting up something in the consumer space, you don't have cyber, it's a 300% increase in the number of cyber claims is real. One is, I know we quote these big numbers, but it's a real number. So cyber policy, every company is buying today. So products like these will probably be the first port of call. Once you're a little ahead in your journey, let's say you're about 15 to 20 employees, and when you get into the health side, in terms of premium, that is of course larger. But in terms of number of policies, it is always the protection products, which are the basic set of products that somebody buys when they set up an organization. And that kind of course, keeps changing, and the risks keep changing as you evolve as a company in terms of your what I'm saying premiums because that's the insurance parlance, but in terms of revenues or your top line or a GMV as that grows.
Okay. Interesting. What does the cyber policy protect a business against? Like if you get hacked or something, if there's a data leak.
Yes, yes. See, so I'll tell you. See, and you didn't ask me a question, but I'll answer that question because I really want to talk about cyber. When we came in and we realized, a lot of companies didn't understand cyber, and this need wasn't really understood a year back. It's not very old story. So, we said, how are you not seeing this risk, right? And so, we started doing something. We started going to the CTOs of companies and we said, why don't you run this one report, right? It's a vulnerability report. It's a third-party report. We're not running it, right? Why don't you run it on your systems, okay? And you see, it'll give you a score from A to F, right? A being the best and F being the worst. And obviously, the way systems are and the way we kind of think about things, most of them would end up in D, E, and F. And and please remember, this report is not run internally. This report is run from my office to your office, which means whatever I can access from outside, a hacker can access from outside. And if you're DNF, you've without knowing it, send an invitation to someone who's like, this guy is so easy. This is so much fun, right? Let me just get inside, get some data out, and let me hold you ransom. And this whole ransomware is a big thing. And most of people don't know how to handle it. And when we sell cyber policies, we sell it, we had to, so we don't just sell cyber policy, right? That's one thing that Policybazaar for Business has done. We don't sell absolutely vanilla products. So what we do is, one, we run this report. Now we come back to you and saying, Akshay, we'll get you insurance later. But at least can you, we go with an IT consultant and we say, this is free of cost. Don't worry, we're not going to make you pay for it. Can you at least make these changes so that at least your product comes or your system comes between A, B, and C? So that's nobody's hacking into your system, right? This is an open risk. And the CTO is, they left aghast most times saying, yeah, this is a problem. Let me just rectify it. So they will kind of rectify their systems. It protects them better. And then I say, okay, now let me go and insure you because now I also know that you're a good risk. I'll go and insure you. You'll get a good price for your insurance and get you the product. Now comes the second part of cyber insurance, which is what happens at the time of claim. Now, this is very important, and I will make judgmental decisions. I remember I started this saying that I was a -4, but you see, there are people who didn't get -4 and who did go into engineering, and you have all the stuff that happens in engineering. Now, you must understand the CTOs of most organizations that have come from engineering colleges, and while they're great at technology and they've done fantastic stuff with systems and evolution, etc., but they aren't the most how do I say it, they're not very eloquent most times. And when there is a bad actor talking to you and he's trying to negotiate with you saying, listen, give me $1 million, or I'm going to suck up your data and I'm going to post it on the dark web, he doesn't know what to do, and he shouldn't know what to do. To be quite fair to them, uh, it's not, that's not part of his role, right? He's supposed to kind of look at systems. He's supposed to get the hacker out, not really do it. So we have a set of lawyers and we have a set of IT consultants, both sitting there, who understand the problem. And we say, listen, you don't have to do anything. If something happens, we'll handle the claim for you. So we will be the, your in the army we call it QRT, or quick reaction team. We will come on board and we will kind of tackle these militants for you. We come board, we talk to the bad actors, we make sure your data is protected, and then we talk about the monies, right? Giving the money is one thing, but not getting your data back is a bigger thing. So we assist the customer from every part, right from protecting the networks in the first place, right down to what happens if the eventuality of a claim or a hack does happen. I think that is where Policybazaar for Business is set up for. That is what we're doing to products, and that is what will set us apart from our largest competitors. And I guess that's, at least that's our working theory. It's been working wonders for the last 4 years. But we'll have to also keep innovating to kind of be in the race.
Interesting. So it seems to me like you are trying to target the more tech first kind of businesses and creating custom products that would specially work for them. That would be a market which the legacy players would not be catering to as well as you could, because you yourself are a tech first business.
Wow. Can you just write that down and send it to me? I'll actually put that on our brochure. I hadn't realized it till you said it. That's why there was a pause. बात तो सही है. See, to some extent, yes. See, the fact that you're going to look for your policy digitally, chances are you're going to end up being a tech first product. So that filtration
Mm,
already happens. But
mm,
we it's not entirely accurate. Like, I'll give you the other product that we sell a lot of. We sell a lot of
mm.
प्रोफेशनल इंडेमनिटी, स्पेशली फॉर डॉक्टर्स, राइट?
Okay.
उसमें ये है कि आपने गलत सुई लगाई और आपको किसी ने सू कर दिया, तो देन देयर इज अ होल लिटिगेशन प्रोसेस एंड हाउ डू यू प्रोटेक्ट इट. But again, it's not just that. That's just the plain vanilla part of it, right? How do you kind of again make sure that the doctor's really protected? One is about, okay, litigation happens, okay, there's money required. ये तो आपका vanilla product हो गया. But we give them the comfort saying, okay, if you're a doctor, you have to focus only on kind of building up your clinic and looking at your patients and doing the best job there. Everything else should be my headache, right? So again, we've done the same thing. We said, okay, you buy this product. If something happens, we will again be your QRT, right? You will come to us. We will handle everything. We will make sure that you have the best lawyer in place. You have all the payment is going to him directly. There is no outflow of cash from your pockets. You're not worried about it. It's getting handled. It till it reaches an eventuality, and then we settle that, right? Because the money is going to come from the insurance company. So when you buy now, a doctor can buy from me and they can buy from my competitors, but where will they actually be at rest, and जिसको बोलते हैं सुकून है उनके पास कि यार somebody else is handling the whole problem. So I'm handling the problem. I'm not just handling the product for them.
Mm.
So and so our consumers, if I want to now try and caption that, is anybody who's looking for protection for their businesses and wants end-to-end protection. Now you have to be a bit tech savvy, because I am quite honestly a digital company, and you have to come to me first for me to be able to kind of address it. But only as much as the next guy. So if you have a mobile phone in your hand, you're my customer.
Right.
Period. No matter what business you're
Yeah.
into. So now you call it a
Right.
tech first business, or you want to call it a tech first founder. I leave that to you.
Mm. Okay, okay, interesting. Uh, is it profitable for you to run this QRT team, the quick response team? That would mean like a certain amount of fixed costs which you have to bear, or do you look at that as a marketing expense that you this will help you get more customers eventually?
Yeah, see, I can't find a flaw in my argument, right? If and it's not like the product is more expensive. So if you get the same product but you're getting the whole service for it, I can't see a reason why you would want to go anywhere else and buy it. Is it profitable? Of course. See, as a business or as a thesis that we have, or whatever you want to call it, right? Our stuck upness, we will never do something that's not contribution positive, right? So whatever we design has to make sense. But honestly, instead of spending the margins on big cars, we are spending our margins on creating this ecosystem, right? It's a cost. But we are not here to make money in 2 years. We are here to make money over 20 years, right? Or 100 years. I don't know what it is. And for that, for me, it's just the base reality, right? मेरे को ये पैसे लेके गाँव नहीं भागना अभी. मैं यही हूँ. I want to kind of look at these customers year on year. And these consumers are my repeat buyers. Who knows that today the MSCMs that I'm protecting today are the large corporates of tomorrow, where the size of the corporate also goes up, the premiums goes up, and hence my spread goes up. So if you look at it from a very very profit lens, if you start looking at it from day one, it's not going to make money. But you've got to be able to understand that as long as the unit economics is fine, eventually you paisa bana dega. So we look at eventuality. We're not in a hurry. Just
This will help you reduce churn rate, retentions will be higher, word of mouth
Yes,
will be
yes.
higher. Mm, mm. Okay.
Broadly, yeah, see, if the customer is not looked after, we're in a high complaint category. Please, I think one thing that we should all understand, we're in a high complaint category. So the customer who's unhappy, he's got lots and lots of tall buildings to shout out from, right? There's LinkedIn, there's WhatsApp, there is Reddit, etc., 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 right? But a happy customer who speaks is heard a lot more.
Mm,
So I have so many people today, and I'm very, very happy and grateful, who are actually going out now on LinkedIn and saying, I had a great experience. Go with Policybazaar only. They're the only guys who work. So, those messages are far more important. And look at, actually, if you genuinely, if you're buying something, you're not going to believe me, right? I'm the seller. But imagine if you go to Google and you find 10 recommendations to buy from Policybazaar, then you'll buy from Policybazaar. And I think that's what we're trying to do. Policybazaar for Business is only set up to kind of create a brand which has the best propositions available, not the best. The products can be the same.
mm. Okay, okay, okay. Uh, what is the difference between how Policybazaar does the B2C customer acquisition and the B2B customer acquisition? So for B2C, you told me first there was high performance marketing spend, then there was brand spend like TV ads, etc. So today the brand is strong enough that there is a lot of inbound organic traffic. Uh, what has been the B2B customer acquisition journey, and what do you think it will be going forward?
You can't teach old dogs new tricks. हम लोग बिल्कुल वही करते हैं. Like there is
Okay.
absolutely no difference. Even the guys who are doing it are exactly the same. We are still
Hmm,
doing performance marketing. We don't do TV marketing right now for
hmm,
Policy Bazaar for Business. We do some offline stuff, right? Going into conferences, etc., trying to see where MSMEs will sit. वो सब करते हैं. But again, we don't reach out to them for sales. We just do a lot of performance marketing. We do a lot of SEO. We have a lot of direct traffic, which again comes to us, that word of mouth, and it's increasing year on year on year on year. It seemed impossible in the first year. It seems very good in the fourth year, and hopefully, we'll have an even bigger year next year. But the model is exactly the same. There are customers who come to us. They give the expression of a particular set of products. Whatever product they choose, we will again reach out to them, or they'll reach out to us, uh, and we will try and put the right product forward. It's exactly the same. There's absolutely no difference in the models. It's just the product, and the customer is a little different. And the customer's intent is to buy for his company rather than for himself or herself. And yeah. Uh,
tell me about the journey to an IPO. Like, what was uh, what was the trigger to decide? Okay, let's do an IPO. Any learnings from that whole process? Has life changed after IPO?
No, let me answer that part first. No, we're still the same driven organization. We're still coming to office every day. We still think that we've yeah, it is a milestone. I don't want to kind of take that away from the IPO, but it's just that. It's just another milestone, right? Where we want to be is much further from here. It's God has been very kind to us, and I think we'll be doing this kindness disservice if we don't carry on what we can do. Uh, but the journey to IPO, see, we how do I put it very, very crisply? Um, we were a set of guys who were on a mission. We've just continued that mission. We've just come to work every day. We're now friends. We're like I don't have too many friends outside of where I work because we've spent a lot of hours in office, right? I'm not telling that to impress my boss. We generally had to kind of do it, right? And while we were doing this, success did hit. We did get a lot of consumers. We did work on products. We did do the right things. We they made a lot of mistakes. We learned from them. We kind of grew up. And as we kept doing that, and our numbers kept developing, we realized that we had become quite a decent size. And at that point in time, I think IPO was the natural progression, and it was the right time. We got a lot of advice from a lot of our mentors, and we went ahead. And the IPO happened. It was a big moment because it suddenly kind of propelled our brand into a new sphere. And but wherever we are in terms of our journey, that was I think that was a very big endorsement of who we are. I think more than anything else. And with that endorsement, you carry on, and you go for the next milestone and the next one. See, because the idea is to build a business which lasts 100 years. You look at all the lovely businesses that our country has created, right? We are fans of such a business, right? Look at how LIC is. Look at how big it is till today. But it was built over a long time. And I think great organizations have to have a very, very long-term vision, which is what we have. Like somebody asked me, why do you want to do this policy bar for business? You're already so big, right? And I couldn't tell you the number, but we're a significant part of Policy Bazaar's business today. And that's because, we thought, why not? Why will we not build a business? But we've learned so much when we are consumer facing, when, consumers have put faith in us, why will we not carry that faith into their daily lives, right? Till now, we have protected what would happen, let's say 3 or 4 days in their lives. Now I have to protect what they do for 250 days of their lives, right? So I think that these transitions will keep happening. If we find another opportunity, like we started reinsurance last year, do we do that? We do that because now we can service our clients even better. Uh, and for us, insurance is the largest thing that we do, and we will continue investing behind it, and we'll continue kind of doing it. This is our passion now. This is who we are. I said we're a marketing and technology company. We started, but now we're a marketing, technology, and insurance broking company. So
Mm.
uh, it's just a natural progression. And I think the IPO was just an endorsement, and we will carry on.
Okay, okay, fascinating. Uh, Reinsurance is when insurance companies sell their risk to like a reinsurer. So, what is the role you are playing in that?
See, what we have to do is we have to get the best solutions from the large reinsurers and be able to present them to insurance companies who in turn will create products out of them, which comes here. So, our role is to find the best solution for our insurance company partners and, kind of try and get them capacity from the reinsurance markets. For me, I mean, that's a traditional part of it. But the part that I'm most excited about is there are a lot of ideas that exist outside our country today, which are doing very well in those markets, which the reinsurers are backing in somewhere else. Can I get that solution from that reinsurer and then work with the insurance company here and develop products which would be great for our consumers, right? Whether it is like there's a lot of talk around different like crop insurance, or there is fire insurance or marine insurance, and there are different ways to do it. Now, imagine if I could create a product where if in theory something happens, we just pay you. We don't look for what damages. We just can tell you, right? And uh, uh, these products would be like, let me give you an example. If you're traveling outside the country and you have a travel insurance, right? And this has a flight delay feature, right? If the flight gets delayed, you don't have to file for a claim. I will kind of already read that. I will say, okay, the flight's delayed, and you're sitting at the airport and you've got a message saying, $1,000 are in your account already. I think that is a wow experience. I think that's what we want to create in terms of products. And there are a lot of these products outside. I just want to make sure that all those products are available in India here. And and hopefully make we only started last year, so maybe all these thoughts are only dreams. But I think if you can't dream, you can't really do so. But that's the thought process behind why we want to get into reinsurance. You just want to get better and better products and better propositions out here.
Okay, interesting. So, what I understand is that what an insurance company is selling, even though it is a manufacturer, but it is just one piece in the supply chain. It also needs a supplier behind it.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Let me explain. There are again two sides to it. There are catastrophic events that happen. For those catastrophes, we can't always be able to give the best pricing. Now, what do I mean by that? See, risk is it's a very very large thing, right? And it has to be spread. If let's say let's say if you are betting on something, right? If you are betting on India में कितनी सुनामी आएंगी, and you had bet ₹100, right? कि okay, in the next 10 years there will be a tsunami in India. You might lose because there may not be a tsunami in India in next 10 years. But if you had the ability and say, okay, in the world, there'll be at least one tsunami, chances are you'll get the money, right? Which is what a risk spreading is, right? So a reinsurer is able to insure for India, it is insure for Africa, it is able to insure for Europe, and then kind of estimate this so that if a loss happens in one place, exactly how insurance works, it is kind of getting compensation from somewhere else. So they are always solvent. An insurance company sitting in India, if one large flood comes in, they run the risk of all the insurance companies in India together having to pay such catastrophic losses. That is what is reinsured. That part, which is a very, very large feature for a very small price, is what is going to the reinsurer. So if a large catastrophe happens, it's taken care by the reinsurer. So that's the typical explanation of why it exists and why it's important. It's not like the insurance, the reason to kind of explain it so thoroughly is because you almost get to feel that they're passing the buck. That's not the real thing, right? It's about
Understood. Okay.
uh, there were a lot of people who didn't get managed for, and they decided that it would probably be better to kind of spread that risk, and that could kind
Uh,
of work throughout the
oh,
plethora of
okay.
products
So
and catastrophes and risks.
basically, like the black swan events are what
Yes,
reinsurers are
yes,
used for.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
And
But
for
you see, but in the
innovative
same
products.
lens, I said that for innovative
Sorry.
products, like see, that's again one thing, right? Like the parametric product I told you about, right? These are ideas which have worked very well outside. Now, what is the difference? The difference is that there's a high frequency in the number of claims or the calamity happening, etc., and there's a lot of calculation that goes behind it. So, parametric products have been used in India for crop; they're not being used so much for the other product. Now, I don't even know if it's going to be a success or not, but I feel that it's the kind of product which is very consumer centric, where it's not about what is the loss. Okay, I reported this. मेरे घर की छत गिर गई और मेरे ये पिलर खराब हो गया और मेरे यहाँ पे पेंटिंग थी वो गीली हो गई अर्थक्वेक आ गया आपको पैसे मिल गए I think from a trust perspective, it is a very, very good product because the largest complaint I hear, when we go out and talk is that I don't know if I'll get my claim. What if there is some fine print there which says that, अच्छा जी आपकी छत गिरी है पर सरिये नहीं गिरे तो ये तो हम claim नहीं देंगे. That's a fear. That's a
Okay.
fear. But if I tell him,
Mm,
देखो earthquake आ गया ना, and it is
mm,
above so much above the Richter scale, तो आपके पैसे आ
mm,
जाएंगे. आपका घर इंटैक्ट रहा या टूटा, उससे इसका
mm,
कोई लेना देना नहीं है. So imagine,
mm,
right? Imagine the guy who's actually dreaming, saying कि यार earthquake भी आ जाए, घर भी ना टूटे और पैसे भी मिल जाए. And I'm
right.
telling you, a lot of people will think like that.
Mm.
And that's the truth. Yes, that is the product. But I think it takes away a lot of, but for the real use of the product, it takes away a lot of
Uncertainty.
anxiety. Yeah, the
Right.
anxiety of claim is not there. They just have to make
Mm.
sure that the government publishes that this was above 6 at the Richter scale and I'm going to get my money. I think those are the kind of products that are important for India. But only time will tell how successful they are.
So, for such innovative products, an Indian insurance company may not have the appetite without a reinsurer backing it up, and which is why you need reinsurers.
Yes.
Whereas, okay, Whereas for something like,
It's
say,
not about the
car
appetite.
insurance.
It's about the data.
Okay.
It's about the data. It's not about the appetite.
Ah,
See, the insurance company,
okay.
any which way is for large risk is going there, right? And like I said, this is an earthquake risk, so it's not just one house that's going to get damaged. There's going to be 1,000 houses they'll have to design it for. And see, the premium to some insured is so different. Like, a home insurance policy, which covers, let's say, a 1 crore house, is only for 5 or 7 thousand rupees, right? So now, if a large damage or large earthquake happens, and let's say this whole colony is bought and there are, let's say, 400, then you're paying out 400 crores at uh, you know, whatever, some 2.8 lakhs or 28,000 or whatever it is, right? The small amount of premium that you're paying for it, right? So uh, this catastrophe is what the reinsurer covers. The reinsurer is actually going to come with data and say that the right pricing for this product is X. And the reason I say that is because I've seen this in Peru, or I've seen this in Romania, or I've seen this somewhere. So this is the right pricing of the product, and don't worry about it. If the eventuality does happen, you're going to give me some part of the premiums, and I will make sure that I am protecting you at the back in the large catastrophe. The reason is data. Reinsurance is a data driven program. It is very less to do with profits and ability and potential.
Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Uh, Data insurance is essentially like a lot about data, right? Like this whole industry is essentially um, spreading risk by using data.
Yes, yes, it's only about data, in fact. Um, and when you look at risk, what we have to understand is, how does the data actually work? What is going to be the loss ratios? What is going to be what are the chances of claim? Right? When we look at any particular product, and the lens of an insurance company, they have to look at two things. One is, what is the frequency of a particular thing? What is the frequency of a particular thing, right? What is the severity of that particular claim? Now, uh, when I talk about those large risks, like I said, earthquakes, they are very small frequency, which means they won't happen very often, but very large severity, and the premiums charged such. If you look at motor insurance, it's a very high frequency but a low severity claim, right? So, when you look at the data, is when you're able to come up with what is the right pricing for a particular set of products. And it has to be right pricing. See, it can't be loss making, but it can't be too profit making. Otherwise, consumers will not buy it. So today, like I say this all the time, we are very lucky because in our country, the car insurance prices are the lowest that I have seen. And I think they're exactly right price. There's not very large margins. There is not a loss-making proposition, but it is exactly where it needs to be. It could get better, but from now. So it is only data that actually tells you, and a lot of that data doesn't. Okay, so car insurance has been done forever, health insurance is done forever, life insurance we have our own tables because LIC has been for a long time. So we have data, but for something like earthquake, etc., while we know our country, we don't know what are the other risks that happen. We don't know what will happen if there's a 40 story building. What will happen to that? So all that data has to come from somewhere, and these are large repositories of data which exist with the reinsurers who again been there for the last 200 years, across continents. That is, I think, they have that role to play here.
Okay, okay, okay. You've been heading strategic initiatives for Policybazaar for I think about 8 odd years now. What all are some of those strategic initiatives?
But there are many, some small, some big. And the Policybazaar for business at one point in time was just a strategic initiative, right? But now it's a business. Uh, and personally, I've been involved in a lot of those, right? We started off. I think the one I can talk about is on car insurance. We started directing customers to our workshops, right? Because we realized that a lot of workshops weren't doing a great job. So we started an initiative where we looked after customers. Then why don't you go to this place? It'll be easier for you. Then on the health insurance side, some of the initiatives we've taken is around sending people to help you in 30 minutes. I think that's a huge hit. It's a hit because it's genuinely what customers need. The guy can't cure, but he can at least fill up the forms, get the hospital to kind of do all the documentation, run around and get the claim, etc. So that is a few things. But the most interesting one is the one I already talked about is how we've built propositions in Policy Bazaar for Business, because this is a new place for us. And for once, this was a time when there are a lot of large brokers who already, like I said, large reputed brokers who do a great job at servicing. And I'm putting that out there. So it's not like they're large brokers and they don't do a great job, right? They do a great job. So we had to build out propositions. Now, whether it's the one that I talk about cyber, whether it's the one that we talk about on the doctor's PI bit, or Or my favorite example, which thank you so much for asking that question. I could not talk about is what we do on the group health insurance side, right? So whether it's large corporates or it's SMEs or MSMEs, today what we've done is we've got a proposition whereby in an app we're able to kind of give you access to. Of course, it comes from the consumers, their demands, but you have access to doctors for a teleconsult. You have wellness, you have diagnostics, you have pharmacy, you have disease reversal programs, right? Disease management programs. And I think we give this to all the employees who are covered by their companies through us. Now, why do we do that? We do that because genuinely, when what has happened over the years is that for an employee, health insurance has become entitlement. मैं आपकी कंपनी में काम करता हूँ, मेरे पास हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस होना चाहिए. Not realizing that the company is doing so much and paying out of their pockets to kind of protect you, which in my view you should be doing yourself. But ठीक है, the company takes care of you. Now, but that's become entitlement. So now what happens is the employees, um, they don't really value what they've got. But when they get this app, when they're able to kind of solve for their medical needs through an app, and I'll give you a use case, right? This is my favorite use case to quote. Uh, if my son is unwell at 11 in the night, I what do? I end up going to the ER. वो ER में जाके वो दो दवाइयां देते हैं, उसके बाद बोलते हैं हमें 24 घंटे ऑब्जर्व करना पड़ेगा. यार कौन से बच्चे को 24 घंटे लगते हैं? सिर्फ उन बच्चों को जो इंश्योरेंस का प्लान लेके आते हैं. बाकी बच्चे 3 घंटे में ठीक हो जाते हैं.
Okay. Okay.
ठीक है. तो अगर उसे 3 घंटे में ठीक होना ही था, so here's the difference. Now you call up this doctor, and we've got experienced doctors in the app, right? They're not like newbies, etc. He will tell you the same thing. He'll say, okay, why don't you take this medicine? You have that medicine, and 90% or I don't know, 95% of the times, you will find the kid to be absolutely fine, right? वो उल्टी उल्टी रुक गई, बच्चा सो गया, आप भी सो जाओ, अब आपको हॉस्पिटल नहीं जाना पड़ेगा, ईआर नहीं जाएगा, वहां पे टीटी आवाज नहीं सुननी पड़ेगी. आई थिंक to me it's quite jarring going to a ER at night, right? And I think for a kid it must be even more. So you look at these use cases. Today we started to do that. Now I feel this is innovation because now you're genuinely looking after the employee and their families. You are genuinely looking after what is their need at a particular hour. You're able to buy medicines on discount. You're able to kind of go after wellness programs. Disease reversal is just talked about, but we're actually doing it. Today, if you have diabetes, you join a program, they'll give you a diet plan, they'll monitor you, they'll tell you what to do. And I have seen so many people now reverse it. It's such a common thing. I don't know why anybody would remain diabetic when you could kind of solve for it. And it's all on an app. So if you just followed the stuff on the app, you're there. I think this has a lot of value. And every corporate we've given it to you does not want to leave this app. See, the insurance is common. The insurance is the same product. Sometimes better, sometimes worse, sometimes structuring, sometimes mathematics, sometimes analytics, but it's just the same. But when you talk about wellness of employees, when you talk about their care, when you talk about how they can benefit from it, how they can actually, for me, for a lazy guy like me, I don't have to start the car, go to a doctor, and show myself, right? I can do it online. And I'm saying try it once. You may believe that this is just gas, but if you actually tried speaking to a doctor, you'll actually feel, yeah, this is just natural. This is absolutely fine. Because आप वहां डॉक्टर भी क्या कर रहा है? वो टाइम चला गया, कोई आपकी नस पकड़ चेक नहीं करता आपको बुखार है कि नहीं है. You're able to do that yourself. You have a thermometer at home. You say कि मुझे इतना बुखार है, क्या करें? It's been happening for so long. In fact, it was happening even in our parents' time. Only in very, very worst time, they have to go to doctor. Otherwise, you were calling him up on those bloody Twitter phones and you were saying कि सर मेरे को ये हो गया, मैं क्या करूं? वो बोलते थे ये जाओ, ये दवाई लेके आओ और खा लो. जब वो when you were worse off, then you had to go there. But that's all we're doing. We're doing it in an app. Maybe it's not so personal as a family doctor, but you can't really go over everything. But over time, I think this is going to evolve. I think we don't need to go to the doctor for everything. We don't need to go to the hospital for everything. And this evolution we brought about in our product, it's been copied, of course, which happens everywhere. But I'm hoping. I mean, in my view, we're still the best. Not to kind of blow my own trumpet, and we're kind of propelling that in organizations. And now we're using it as an app that actually drives a lot of things. So we drive the usage of this app. Everybody else says, "Jitna kam download hoga, utna kam kharcha hoga." For us, it's about how do you get more and more employees to download this app, use it for everything. Use it for claims. You got a claim, just put it in there and it's filed. It's done. No paperwork. You want to call a doctor, you want to check, you want to see what your pre-hospitalization, post-hospitalization, you want your cards, it's right there on the app. See, for everything we've been able to download app. So why not for your insurance? So for us, this is a massive change over what was typically happening and where we are, and which is what has brought about our success for the last 4 years. And but these are the strategic initiatives we want to continue kind of innovating on.
Okay, okay, interesting. Um, you said you are a tech and marketing company. I think more than that, you are a tech and product company. Like for each of these, you've created product. Like you had the QRT for
Yeah.
a certain category, which was a product you created. Now you have this product for the health insurance.
Yeah.
This is free for everybody who's buying health insurance, like the group health insurance,
For the
or is
organizations
this
who buy from us, yes.
okay? Again,
It's
the
part of the
cost of
product. So
running.
it's not
Okay.
in insurance we don't use the word free. It is
Mm,
it's there is no cost difference and it's embedded into the product.
mm. And for you, again, the way to look at it is it's a way to build word of mouth, reduce churn, increase engagement, retention. Uh,
Oh, you always kind of want me to quantify it, but for me it's about where does one see value in the purchase they've done. Now, whether it is through it doesn't, of course, everything is done for retention. I want my consumers to stay with me for the longest time. I think so. If you want to use one word of retention there, we'll use that word. But the idea is commercially also it'll only make sense if you're there with me for years, and it's
yes.
a no-brainer.
Mm,
But from a liking perspective, I want you to be there for years, right? And it's also about cross-sell. So if you want to really come on to commercial aspect, if you brought in group health insurance from me, and if I've done a good job, I don't think Akshay is a heartless guy who will not give me the other insurances, right? He will say, okay, I want my car insurance also be from you. I run a company, you've done my group health insurance policy. I also want my liability policies with you because you're also taking care of my CTO at that point in time when the claim happens, right? So on and so forth. So I think this is not about just one product, or the reason is not very clear only about retention or about commerce or about one or two factors. It's about how can I take Akshay's business? How can I kind of look after him for the longest time? And then I know that I'll make money, A, because he is paying for so many years. He will kind of take another product from me, a third product from me, because in the life span of a particular company, you have to buy these insurances at some stage. I just want to be the guy you choose to buy from.
okay. Uh, what is it about Policy Bazaar's DNA that makes you the winner in the insurance aggregator space? There are a lot of competitors who started along with you, but you are the biggest in the market. What is the secret sauce? Why are you the biggest? Why are you the one who got a public listing? What are those some of those pillars which you think are responsible for this success?
Our obsession, our obsession with uh, giving our customers the best proposition, I think, is a secret sauce. It's not a secret, but it's our sauce. So, whichever product we've spoken about today, I think I've been able to give you an example of how we've done it a little differently, not very differently, but just about how can we get the best sort of uh, 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 and not just a marketing story, a real story where I'm able to kind of get the consumer and say, "हाँ यार ये तो होना ही चाहिए." So I think that's what we've done. We've only designed products. I think everything else happened. Like I said, word of mouth happened. Marketing happened. Uh, everything was a bit of a collateral. But what we really did, what we really worked hard on, is can we get the product right? Can we get the proposition right? Can I today talk to Akshay and make sure that अब या तो हमसे खरीदेगा या कहीं और से नहीं खरीदेगा? You know what I'm saying? When you go, it's like when you want to buy a car, and you went to buy, you shouldn't name car, but any car, right? Let's say a mid-size car. But आपने जाके फरारी देख ली. अब मैं आपको बेट कर सकता हूँ, हमने पूरी फरारी चला चुके देख ली ना, तो आप वापस जाके अपनी गाड़ी कम से कम 1 महीने तक नहीं ले पाओगे. Because now you've experienced a Ferrari, right? You really
Yeah.
had a great experience. अब मैं जाऊंगा अपनी फटपटी चलाऊंगा तो you will feel not so nice. So I want to at least have that design, down pat. I want that to be our story. I want everybody to believe that if I have to get the best proposition, it has to be from Policy Bazaar. And now that I've heard their proposition, I'm only theirs.
Mm. How do you build an organization around this obsession? Like you must be thousands of people in terms of headcount. How do you scale up the culture, the DNA beyond just the founders?
See, a big part of who's going to listen to me speaking like this is going to think I'm completely nuts, right? And I'm telling you that happens. So when we hire, it's not so much about interviewing them, it's about them interviewing me. And when I speak like this and I put this obsession forward, या तो वो ज्वाइन करेंगे नहीं करेंगे. So I think वो naturally select हो जाता है कि यार okay, he is my crazy, so we'll kind of work along with everybody.
Okay.
And I guess it's not a top-down approach, etc. Right? It is in everybody's DNA here, but birds of a feather flock together. It's always going to be like that, right? You will find the same obsession. Now, if every day I'm talking about the same thing to someone, either they'll get with it or they will just run away. It's just very simple, right? And
Mm.
it's over time that it travels. I think it's infectious. It's something that we want to do. It's what you're rated against. So when I talk to Sarabir Yashish today, they are not so interested about my numbers, right? They're very interested sometimes, but mostly they're not interested about my numbers, right? They're more interested about, okay, what did we build? How did this work? If sales are low, it's almost assumed that it didn't happen because our proposition wasn't right. We never take the stance that, okay, marketing didn't do a good job, or conversion didn't happen, or sales guy wasn't right. That's never the answer. For us, the answer always, oh, maybe we didn't do enough with the product. So can we pack it a little better? Can we structure it a little better? Maybe the price wasn't right. Maybe we didn't reduce the pricing. Or maybe the essentials were not there, so we need to increase the price and add the essentials. So for us, it's an assumed answer कि हमारी सेल शायद इसलिए नहीं हो रही क्योंकि हमने proposition अच्छा नहीं बनाया. And never the answer is never, oh, maybe the sales guy wasn't concentrating. शायद वो late आया होगा. शायद वो छुट्टी मार रहा होगा. So I
Okay.
think it
Interesting.
flows, right? And the moment
Yeah.
they ask me this question, I'm asking the same question to my team, and my team's asking the same to their legs. And I guess that's how you have the culture that we've created.
How do you make sure that the product you're building actually matters to a consumer? Because founders have this tendency to at times build a product they think is amazing, but the market doesn't think it's amazing. So, what is that journey of validating or finding product market fit?
Oh, this one's a beautiful answer. We've never designed something on our own. We've always done it because the customers asked for it. Always. So, in fact, today, again, boastfully in Policybazaar for Business, we have an AI engine, right? So, I remember I said that we call out all our customers and we understand what they want, and we kind of then recommend a product, etc. But we're collecting all this data. And then we create a word cloud, and then we say, okay, these are the questions that they keep asking. These are the words that a non-interested customers or a non-buying customer is saying, and this is the one that the buying customer is saying. Oh, here's the difference. Also, he's talking about how quickly they can get the policy, right? So, can I get pre-underwritten products? See, the answer comes from the question they've asked. So, I am not sitting here dreaming, saying that, oh, you know what? If I added a stethoscope to my plans, then maybe the doctor's PI will sell more. No, it is when we spoke to the consumers, no doctor wants to go through a lawsuit. But more than that, if a lawsuit comes, they don't want to handle it themselves. They feel quite lonely. They don't have lawyer friends. So they say, okay, if your product has a lawyer attached to it, or rather you can help us get a lawyer, whichever way, I want your product. It is giving me a service. Why will I go somewhere else? Or for that matter, if in cyber insurance, if I'm going to handle that call when the bad actor calls, why will a CTO not opt for me? I can't see a reason. I can't see a reason. So why? Because when we heard them, when we heard what the cyber insurance problem was, they said, okay, what will happen? All the questions around, okay, so when the breach happens, what will happen? So many
Okay.
questions around claims. Whereas the
Hmm.
question should be around what else covered. So all of what we've created comes from what our consumers have been asking for, and we simply answer them. It's very straightforward.
Okay, that's amazing. So the fact that you have humans who are selling is a source of data for you, because every sales conversation is a source of data. You would probably be transcribing it and then putting that
Yes,
through like a large language
yes,
model to derive
yes.
insights. Amazing, amazing.
Absolutely correct. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. What are the other ways in which data is helping you become better? So this is one way you told me that your product development, the data for that comes from those conversations with customers, the sales calls. What are the other ways in which data helps?
See, our like I said, largest obsession is about creating propositions and products, which the data comes from, like you rightly said. But it's also about our own improvement, right? At what point does the customer drop off, right? It's the user. Everybody uses it. So, you have a customer journey, you look at the cycle, whether it's through a call or whether it's on the website. We look at our drop-offs and then we try and understand what is the reason behind it. And then we get into the metadata of, what is it on a particular page or in a particular conversation that where a customer loses interest. Is it the payment? Is it what cards are offered at the point of payment? Whether it's about a particular product or a particular juncture where there's a lot of documentation demand. So we look at this data almost day in day out. So it's a regular practice, and then we try and improve on that. So I think anybody who's working in product at Policy Bazaar for business is only looking at where did it drop off and what can I do to change it. Very process driven, not so much on the UI side, more on the UX design, where okay, can we ask a question earlier or later? Okay, this question, if he's asking for the Aadhaar card, the guy has to get up and go get his Aadhaar card. Can we do some integration there and kind of get it automatically? Or we're asking for a phone number, it's a bit jarring. Can we just remove it? Or we're asking for the full name. We don't have the right. I don't know. There are multiple things that we come up with every day. So improving our funnels to make it easier is a large part of data. In terms of grounds up product design, also we look at a lot of data that comes to us. For example, if somebody is buying health insurance and they're asking, it's about okay, what about term life, right? Can we then create a combo product? On that one, right? So can we grounds up design something which covers both health and term life? So stuff like that is all coming from data and in demand. Our day-to-day operations are run on data. How our sales are doing, how much time are we logged in, how who's a better agent, what's the other agent, what are the secret sauce of a really good telecaller versus a not so good telecaller. So they use data. The sales team uses data very, very, like elaborately to kind of explain to each other on what is going wrong. In fact, I remember when I was in telesales, I had to kind of, resort to asking a friend of mine to kind of listen to my calls and tell me why I wasn't as good as the best telecaller. So, that data does today what a human was doing 20, 25 years ago.
Okay, fascinating. You also have a lot of data around, say, claims and that kind of insurance data. Does that help you to go to insurance companies and ask them to change products and terms and prices and stuff like that?
Yes, that's exactly what we do. So when you look at our claims, the way we are structured, our portfolio operates very different from what a typical insurance company's portfolio operates, right? That's because there's a high amount of disclosure in the forms that we do. So the customer's a little different. They're telling us about the illnesses, so the pricing is different. Now, basis that loss ratio, depending on which product you talk about, we're able to design products far better. In some cases, if the loss ratios are lower, we can actually give a higher discount than's available in the market. In some cases, we're able to kind of use that and develop features which best address, let's say, a high loss ratio product. So this data we share with the insurance companies a lot. In fact, when I said that we design products, the loss data is one that we look at very, very closely. That we are not creating a product which is not commercially viable. It has to be commercially viable, and yet priced right so the customer doesn't believe it's expensive. So yeah, we have to look at loss data.
Okay. Okay, understood. My last broad question area is your advice as an experienced founder to young founders, people who are thinking of starting up or are early stage founders. What have been your top learnings which you would like to share?
There are too many, and then there are too few to kind of talk about. But what's worked for us is just being crazy and obsessed about what we want to do with our customers. I think we wanted our proposition to be so strong, and I think that's worked for us. So being very, very obsessed about the product is, I think everybody should have it. I don't think that anybody should think that, just a great journey or a great looking website or great marketing will actually build a business. I think what you sell is of most importance. And I think uh, everybody says fail fast, but I think there's also the part, that if there is a promise, then just go along with it. And just there are good times, there are bad times, and we've seen all of them, right? Multiple times. But you've just got to keep going. There will be a time when the markets are down. There's a time when the markets are up. For insurance, of course, we remain mostly unaffected by them. But it's also about every day kind of showing up and doing it. We've had good years and bad years, but just showing up and knowing that this is done for the long run. And see, I've seen a lot of founders going after quick profits, or just saying, I want to do this in 3 years. The best companies aren't created in 3 years. Most of the best companies will never even will think it's a joke if you think you're going to do it in 3 years. In 3 years, you can get some success, but a great organization is built over 10 years. So if you're found, if you're going to found something, right? If you're going to kind of build something, think of building this for the next 20 years. Think very long term, and then put your milestones. Say you want to do an IPO in X number of years. I don't even know what the right number there is, but please think 20 years. Please think that I'm going to retire from this company and I would have built a masterpiece, at least in my own eyes. So I think those are the only two things I've seen uh, that really set us apart versus the others. I think everybody else is quite capable and doing quite well, but these are my two nuggets that I try to share.
Thank you so much for your time, Tarun. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you so much, Akshay. Pleasure being here.